Yo, ¿cómo están? What's up? This is Wild on Twos. Thank you for coming to my channel. For anyone that's new, please hit the like, the subscribe, and the bell for future notifications. We as bikers have just as much right to be out in public or on the road as much as anybody else. From unlawful stops to illegal searches, we as bikers or motorcycle riders need to know our rights. On this episode, we're going to be going over those rights and what to do when stopped. Well, let's go. Yo, like I said, thank you for coming to my channel. This is Wild on Twos. It's a beautiful day to ride. It's always a beautiful day to ride. Well, I just want to give a shout out to Corpse MFFM out on the East Coast. He put a video out on YouTube about an altercation he had with a police officer. But he knew his rights. He put the police officer in his place. And that kind of got me thinking and wanted me to kind of make this video. Because as bikers and motorcycle riders, we need to know our rights. And like I said earlier, we as bikers have just as much right to be out in public on these roads, just like anybody else. Yet, more than any other group, we are the target of traffic stops, searches, and harassing tactics based exclusively on the fact that we ride a motorcycle or may belong to an MC. We need to stand up for our rights as bikers in our states. I mean, our rights can be violated in many ways. We as riders most commonly face civil right violations under the First and Fourth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. Typically, the Fourth Amendment violations include unlawful stops, illegal searches, warrantless arrests, I'm not going to say that word again, illegal profiling. And that happens a lot here in Texas. Fourth Amendment search and seizure laws basically require that searches be reasonable. They must be reasonable in their scope, which that means what police are looking for and where they're looking. And they must be reasonable at the outset as well as for the duration of that search. Most often, a probable cause or a warrant is required before conducting a search or making an arrest, although this is not always the case, as we know, especially in the complicated area of the law. Even without conducting a search, traffic stops and other forms of police harassment may violate our First Amendment free speech and association rights. The First Amendment protects both freedom of speech and freedom of association. When we are stopped or harassed merely because we are displaying cuts or colors associated with our motorcycle club, these most valuable First Amendment rights are implicated. It is not always government agencies that violate biker rights. Some restaurants, bars, other establishments may refuse to serve patrons based solely on their appearance or apparent club membership. Private businesses who discriminate in this manner may be in violation of everybody's, whatever state civil rights acts. Literally, there's a bunch of lawsuits going on right now from some clubs and bikers for being discriminated against because of tattoos or patches. Civil right violations cause immediate harm to the ones that are getting violated, but they are also cause greater societal harm. Civil lawsuits for money and damages actually been shown to effectively be a way to, of course, compensate individuals for the harm, but it shines a spotlight on the government misconduct, forces police departments or other agencies to change their policies, improve their training, and take steps toward prevent further civil law rights violations. So, due to the stressful time, if we're being pulled over, once you're safely on the side of the road, just turn the bike off. You're probably not going to go anywhere for a few minutes, so don't waste that gas and idle. Turning the motorcycle off also signals to the officer that you're calm, you're patiently waiting for them to approach. Make sure you keep your hands on in plain sight, like setting them on the gas tank or leaving them on the handlebars. Taking your helmet off can show good faith to the officer, but remember, I keep mine on because they see that as a weapon too. I just put the visor up, so I flip my visor or take your eye protection off. I mean, the officer can clearly see your eyes. Stay seated on your motorcycle, and if you choose to, I mean, I just put my stand down. I'm not going to be holding my bike up while I wait for him. Turn the hazard lights on, and if your bike's equipped with that. Because remember, in the U.S., The officer would need your permission for the search, probable cause for the search, or an actual warrant for the search. If police say they smell marijuana, you're in a tough situation. And literally, courts have ruled that the order of contraband gives officers probable cause to perform a search. For this reason, police are quick to claim that they smell something, and sometimes they might even lie about it. Your saddlebags are part of the bike. Similar to like a closed duffel bag on the back seat of your car, the officer has to have permission or enough cause to get a warrant for this search, or actual warrant for the search. In the U.S., you should always deny your permission for search. Let the officer do his job. He will need to show probable cause to the judge for the search should, he find something. And you need to end up in court because of it. Probable cause means that the officer believes that he has enough legal reason for a search that he could get a warrant for. Remember, if you're open your tank bag, maybe to get your insurance papers, and the officer sees something quote-unquote suspicious in the bag, maybe something that looks like a baggie of marijuana, he doesn't need your permission or warrant to look. He would then have probable cause for the search. That would be the same as an open duffel bag in the back seat of a car if he can see through the window and see something illegal. The officer cannot compel you to open your soft or hard motorcycle luggage bag without your permission or a probable cause or warrant. Now remember, upon request, you must show your driver's license, your motorcycle registration, and proof of insurance. In some cases, the police have a right to search you without a warrant, but you should always protect your rights by making it clear that you are not consenting to the search. If you consent to the search, it may be impossible for your attorney to later argue that search was improper or illegal. If the police officer suspects that you are driving under the influence of alcohol and requests that you take a breath or blood or urine test, do not refuse. In most states, the penalties for refusing such a test are worse than the penalties for DUI or DWI. In many states, a driver who refuses a breath, blood, or urine test will lose his or her license for a whole year. To make matters worse, it's likely that you will still get that DUI. If the cop gives you a ticket and requests for you to sign it, you should just sign it. Otherwise, he may have the right to arrest you. Remember that although you have the right to remain silent, lying will get you more in trouble. In many states, providing a false name or identification or so can give you jail time or prison time, so speak quiet. It's better not to say anything. If you're stopped by the police, whether you're innocent or guilty, the best defense, like I said, know your rights. Remember that you do not have to say anything. You do not need to explain yourself. I hear these stories all the time. Folks being pulled over for silly stuff. Probable cause that they were given was like at a traffic stop. Someone made a wide turn at an intersection, and then the entire group was stopped. They were detained for over a half hour to an hour. All their buddies were searched. Photos were taken of them, their bikes, pictures of their bikes, their vests, American flags, and other patches, and entered into the quote-unquote gang database. If you get stopped while you're off your bike, you need to know your rights as well. Being a suspicious person is not illegal. Check your local state if it's a stop and ID state. If not, you don't have to show your ID. You don't have to say anything. The police must have reasonable suspicion, meaning a clear, specific, unbiased reason for suspecting that you committed or are committing or are about to commit a crime. They may say you look suspicious, but if they say that I ask if being suspicious, I always ask if being suspicious is a misdemeanor or felony. But just say, am I under arrest and am I free to go? If you're not under arrest, then walk away. If you're under arrest, just be quiet. You're entitled to an attorney. The police can approach you without any legal basis to ask you questions. You can agree to answer those questions, or you can refuse. If a cop asks for consent to search you or your property, remember, you have the right to say no. If you want to find out if the interaction is consensual, just ask them if you're free to leave. If the, for example, officer says, what brings you here today? I'm just going to say, am I free to leave? If he says yes, I don't have to answer questions to leave. Remember, you may legally video and audio record a police officer performing any official duties while in public. An officer may not, take your equipment from you. He cannot demand to view the footage, and he cannot delete without a warrant. Corpse said it best. It doesn't matter what patch you wear. We are all citizens of the United States, protected under the Constitution. You need to know your rights and laws in your county, state, and federal laws. Alright guys, well, going to this new jiu-jitsu place, trying to figure this place out. Well, until next time, God bless, much love and respect. Peace.